Jai Hind dosto, and I welcome all the lovely viewers of Youth Weds Passion Show and all the charming aspirants of How to Crack SSB. And once again I am there with all of you, and the best part is we have already completed the 19 episodes of all the officer-like qualities are done, and from today onwards we will be starting up the next area, that is the screening test, phase 1 of the SSB. So SSB is in 2 phases. Phase 1 is screening, which is basically a stepping stone, and you need to clear phase 1 if you want to get into the phase 2, that comprises of psychology, GTO and interview. So today we will be talking about the phase 1, and this phase 1, which is screening test, will be covered in 3 episodes. So let me tell you here, the first episode, that is today, we will be talking about that what screening test is all about, what all things are there and what is the need of it. Then screening has 2 parts. One part we will discuss today, that's the written part, OIR part, verbal non-verbal part, and the second is PPDT, picture perception and discussion test. So in the second episode, that would be the 21st episode, we will be talking on picture perception discussion test, and in the third episode, that's on the 22nd episode, I will going to take the live questions of all the aspirants. So right from today episode, it is my request to all the viewers, whatever questions that you already have in your mind related to screening test, or questions which arises after going with the 2 episodes, today's episode and the next episode, which is related to screening, do post your questions in comments. The How to Crack SSB team will make a note of it, and in the third episode of screening, which would be the 22nd episode, I would going to discuss all those questions that we have received from the aspirants. So do post all your questions and queries that you have within the comment section on this live of Facebook that's going on right now. So let's begin from the screening test. So as we have understood that the basis of SSB is the OLQs, officer-like qualities, which we have already done. Now will be more objectively talking about various aspects. So OLQ was a very subjective topic, though we have tried to make it objective as well, but now it will be very objective because we will be doing things practically also. So SSB is divided in 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 comprises of screening, and you have to clear the screening part, and then you can get on to the phase 2, and phase 2 comprises of interview, GTO and psychology. So phase 1 to start with. Now in phase 1 screening test, let's understand that what is a screening test. So as the name says, that is why the name has been kept as screening test. So screening test is basically, it is going to screen you on a very elementary level, that shall we test you for phase 2, or in other words, do you have that very basic things which are required to be the future officer within your personality, within your system. If you have those things in a very little bit traces, if you have it, and if you are able to express it in the screening part, they will consider that yes, this is worthy enough to test you for phase 2 of the SSB. And by any chance, if they feel and you are not able to make up in the screening, that simply means that you are not worthy enough to test for the screening for the second phase. So screening test is basically just a precursor that has been added. It is just a one gateway, or in other words a filter that has been added in the whole SSB system to further filter out those candidates who are really have that particular thing, have that particular factor in them to be an officer, So it is a filter to filter out those candidates. So example is, let's say in a batch 150 candidates appear. So out of 150 could be possible that only 50 get screened in, 40 get screened in, at times 60-70 get screened in. So somewhere around, very easily, just with a one test, devoting a single day, they are able to figure it out that how many candidates should be tested for phase 2. This is what the screening test is. This is the meaning of the screening test, and this is the very basis and need for doing the screening test. So army and forces is a very smart area. So it's a very smart, people are very smart. Forces is one of the, as it is one of the less ordinary profession, career, in the same way it is one of the most smartest one as well. So they always act smart. Adding this screening test is also a part of their smartness and shows their wisdom that they are adding a filter to it so as to filter out those candidates who are really deserving enough to be tested for phase 2, or in other words, have that particular factor in them to be an officer. Now this screening is actually divided in two different parts. So it has two tests, you can say. Test number 1, that is called as OIR, or in other words, it's a written test which is a verbal and non-verbal reasoning test. I believe you people must be acquainted with what is verbal and what is inverbal. जैसे आपने देखा होगा बहुत सारे exams में verbal and inverbal आता है. So I'll give you an example. So let's take an example. So an example of a verbal test is, so if I talk about an analogy question, जो analogy के question होते हैं. So example. So the question is, rain is related to water in the same way as river is related to. So in this question, they are checking your verbal reasoning. So there is a relation between rain and water, and now they are saying what is the relation between river, and these four options are given to you: lake, shower, delta or pond. So you have to give this reason. Now how you have to do this? So these are very simple, if I have to say, very simple. So you just need to understand this analogy. Analogy is, you have to see that what is the relation they have given. So rain is to water means that rain gives you the water. So what river gives you? That is what you have to simply come up with. So river gives what river actually gives you. That is what you have to give. So river gives delta. So it is delta, right? So let's say take one more example. So example is, bus is related to passenger in the same way school is related to. So here the analogy is that in the bus, the people who travel, as in bus is made for whom? Bus is created for passengers, for the people who have to travel in bus, right? So now the question is asking you, school is related to, tell me, try. It's very simple. From the four options, school is related to students, because students is the reason which defines the meaning of a school, as passengers define the meaning of a bus. So likewise, you will get various questions related to verbal, non-verbal, and in verbal, non-verbal also you have various categories. Verbal as analogy, coding, decoding. So there are various examples, and in the same way in non-verbal you will have those diagram, pattern based, various questions are there. So they are not very tricky, they are very simple. A very normal logical mind who is doing those questions very calmly and attentively, consciously, you can easily solve them. They are very simple. The two examples which I just shared with you, they are from my book only, that is from How to Crack SSB only, and all those who already have a book, they can infer the chapter of screening in that they'll get these examples, or the ones who do not have a book, they can take a book from Amazon or Flipkart or from offline any of the stores. It's available in major part of the country. So the idea is, it's the verbal and non-verbal is something which is not too difficult, very simple. Here, one important guideline I would like to give all of you is, before you go for SSB, do practice verbal and non-verbal before you go for it. Now, what is the reason why I am asking you and urging you to practice is, obviously, the possibility that you get a same question and you already remember the answer is very low. And I must say, you even don't go with this mindset that I will get the same question, because if you go with this mindset, then you are trying to cram the answers. You are not able to solve them, but rather you are trying to learn them, right? Why I am saying do practice them? Because this is the only area in SSB within the screening test where if you practice, you get comfortable, you get merged, you get acquainted with this question. And what happens when these questions or similar type of question comes in SSB, it is quite easy for you to address them because you are already comfortable enough to handle such questions. बहुत बारी क्या होता है ना, आप देखेंगे कि आप अगर से एकदम से आपको कोई चीज दिखाई जाएगी, आप उसको हैंडल कर भी सकते हैं, आपको समझ आ भी सकती है, बट इफ इट इज वेरी स्पॉन्टेनियस, देयर कुड बी अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि जिसमें टाइम का प्रेशर भी है, कुड बी अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि आती हुई चीज भी आप नहीं कर पाए, बहुत बारी होता है, राइट? सो हियर I would suggest you that do practice before going, because that will make you acquainted enough with such type of questions, and it is very basic. Normal reasoning and logic is required and you can easily do them. And for practice, I have already given in appendix various practice sets to practice the verbal and non-verbal questions. So yes, for practice also, all those who do not have the book, they can buy the How to Crack SSB by Ujjwal Chugh, so that you guys can practice also. So do practice it, that's a very important thing. So this first part of the screening or first test, verbal, non-verbal, written test is done. After that, the second test comes, and a very, very important test which forms the very basis of your screening criteria. That means this test plays a major and a vital role in determining that whether you will screen in or get screened out, irrespective of the fact you score very well in your written. अगर आपने रिटन में बहुत अच्छा स्कोर कर भी लिया, फिर भी ये जो सेकेंड टेस्ट है PPDT, पिक्चर परसेप्शन एंड डिस्कशन टेस्ट, दिस प्लेज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वाइटल रोल इन डिटरमाइनिंग कि आप स्क्रीन इन होंगे, यानी कि स्क्रीन इन क्लियर कर पाएंगे या नहीं कर पाएंगे. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी कॉन्शियस while doing it. So I believe you people have understood that what screening test is all about and what is the need for it. First part we have already discussed about the OIR written test, and the second PPDT that I will be going to cover in the next episode. So till then, please do post your queries related to screening test in the comment section, because right from today onwards, the third episode, that is from next to next after PPDT, I will take all those live questions which you guys will submit. So do post your questions. You have good ample of time to practice and come up with questions, because next week we will have PPDT, and after that next week I will be taking a live questions. So you have good ample time, sufficient time to practice and come up with your queries through which I can clear off your doubts. So till then, bye bye, take care. Thank you so very much for joining me live once again, and I really love you all. Thank you once again. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind.